What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Frankie Bones, and in today's video, going to be hopping back into Yankee universe. We're going to be breaking down two series today, again, Oakland and St. Louis. Apologize for doing these sort of back-to-back like I've done so over the past couple of videos. Been super busy over the past week or so between the wedding. I was just away, so I just got back. And yeah, but if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe to not miss out on any Yankees content coming throughout the rest of the season as we're approaching the All-Star break here coming up. So we'll go through and just sort of fire through some of these games, not too many notes on the individual games overall. So we'll start with Oakland. Yankees traveling out to the West Coast once again. They end up dropping Game 1 by a score of 2-1. But they end up coming back to win the next two. The second game, the Yankees won 11-0, which we'll talk a little bit more about later on in our key takeaways. Obviously, Domingo German throws a perfect game, the 24th in MLB history. And the Yankees turn around, avoid a big letdown, and win the rubber match by a score of 10-4. Next, the Yankees traveled on to St. Louis to take on the Cardinals. And in the first game, pretty ugly for the Yankees here in this one. Final score was Cardinals 11, Yankees 4. This was part of a doubleheader, so that was the early game. For the late game, the Yankees ended up taking this one by a score of 6-2. And ultimately, the Yankees ended up dropping the series here, losing the third game by a score of 5-1. And just a little tough. Yankees weren't able to get enough hits out of Monty, and always just tough losing a Garrett Cole start. So we'll move on to the key takeaways and talk about a couple of these things that happened throughout these games. The first thing that we obviously have to lead off with is Domingo German, coming off of potentially two of the worst starts in his career. Sort of felt like he had a bounce back in him, and even started in my fantasy lineup, even though I definitely shouldn't have, but he's perfect. He goes 9 innings, no hits, no walks, no errors, striking out 9 and throwing 99 pitches. So keeping it under 100 is absolutely incredible. It's not something that is sort of seen in the game today. Complete games overall, much less one that comes by way of under 100 pitches. So Domingo's stuff was really on. His curveball was devastating. Continued to go back to it all night and just ultimately found a really good rhythm. Was throwing strikes. Defense was good behind him. It was only like one really tough play that was a hard grounder to Rizzo. Ended up making a good stop and getting it over to Domingo. But hats off to him. Hopefully he found sort of what was going on in some of his previous starts where it was getting away from him, and obviously was perfect. So he throws again tonight in the first game against Baltimore, so we'll have to see if he is able to repeat that success, although in front of many, many more fans. The next key takeaway that I want to talk about, and I think it's overdue, I kind of forget if we talked about him before or not, in terms of his impact, but it's Tommy Kahnle. Man has absolutely thunderous legs, and I love that power. He's just been absolutely amazing since he came back from his injury and starting off his year. So far, he's thrown in 12 games, just under 12 innings, only allowing 4 hits, no runs, no earned runs, only 2 walks, and 13 Ks. Tommy Kahnle is getting the job done. He is showing again why he's such a reliable arm for us in the bullpen. His stuff still looks really good. His velo is there, still with that power changeup, and just really good combo. He's getting guys out and really just lengthening this Yankees bullpen, which has been one of the best in the league and definitely a strong suit of the team to this point. So just wanted to highlight his success and his numbers of actually how well he's doing, because sort of seems like it's flying under the radar, and wouldn't be surprised if he finds himself in a lot more high leverage situations moving forward. The next key takeaway that I want to talk about is Anthony Volpe. So yes, he's been struggling mightily over the past couple of weeks, month and a half leading up to this most recent stretch, but Infamously, he goes out to dinner with Austin Wells, who's another one of the Yankees' top prospects, a catcher, and they just talk out some of the issues that he's having over a nice chicken parm. They end up talking about something, a little hiccup in his swing, and since then, he's really been locked in at the plate. So who knows what they talked about. Maybe it was just a magic chicken parm, but talking about Anthony's numbers over the last 15 days, he's 16 for 44. Just talking about sort of hit line, we'll go through the slash, 364, 429, 523, giving him just shy of a 1.0 OPS, which all that is really, really great stuff. Bat has really came alive for him, and I think it's really important for this team as well to continue to generate outside of the big names. Some of the other guys have fallen off that have been hot to this point, that were sort of bottom of the lineup, not heart of the lineup contributors. Guys like Billy McKinney hasn't been as hot. Bader's still looking for ways to be really impactful with his bat since coming back from the injury, and a couple other guys as well, but AV's done a really good job, scored 4 runs, 5 walks, so just sort of staying patient at the plate, finding great pitches to hit. He does have 14 Ks over the last 15 days. I couldn't figure out how many games, but probably about 12 or 13, so about a strikeout a game. Definitely wish it was lower, but it's going to happen. He's, top percentile in the league in strikeout numbers, so definitely would like to see him improve in that regard, but overall it's a great body of work, and hopefully this continues to show him success throughout the rest of the season. I think that he's figured it out. At the beginning of the season, it was weird. He was taking tons of walks, striking out a ton still. The power was there. I think John Boy said it best in a video I saw the other day. That just wasn't his game, and I think he's sort of regressing back to the mean, finding his role, and finding ways to contribute to this ball club. And finally, the last key takeaway, we'll talk about Clarke Schmidt, and he's become a really consistent pitcher for us. He's had multiple stints with the team where he's really not looked great, but just wanted to highlight some numbers over his last 5 games to show his consistency and show his body of work of how he's improved throughout the season. Not really sure what he's been working on, but taking a look into the numbers themselves, just over a 3.04 ERA, and this is over 26.2 innings, so just about 5 innings to start. Would love some more length, but, that's obviously not the end-all be-all at the end of the day. Surrendering 26 hits, 10 runs allowed, 9 earned, so over the 26 innings, pretty solid, obviously just at above a 3.0 ERA, and 7 walks compared to 14 strikeouts. So wish that the strikeout numbers were a little bit higher. That's just about 3 strikeouts a game, but ultimately just shows the effectiveness of some of his pitches. I know that he's incorporated the cutter more into his game, which I think plays well in terms of trying to get out lefties. He likes to go to the changeup, and I think people have sort of adapted to that and been able to sniff out that pitch. So adding another pitch he's comfortable with is always big, and he's just a guy that throws a lot of strikes. Obviously, there's not a ton of strikeout numbers here, but shows that he's effectively putting the ball in play, I guess, in a way. He's using the gloves behind him, and we'd love to look at some advanced stats about him, like fielding, independent pitching, some stuff like that, but had to make this video kind of quick, so might have to wait for the next one on that, but just wanted to say hats off to Clarke. He's been pitching, very well for us. He's been very consistent and at a big time as well. Over the last 5 starts, the last couple of weeks, the Yankees have been going through a lot of troubles offensively. Obviously, Nestor goes down. We're still working to get Rodon back, who we'll talk about, but he's been a consistent light for this team. Sevy not pitching well, so I think it's been really important for this team, and looking forward to him continuing to build on the success that he's currently having. Next, we'll move on to What's Up, Doc, talk about some injury news and when to expect to get some of these guys back. So the first guy that we're going to talk about is obviously Carlos Rodon. He is slated to return and don the pinstripes for the first time at home on Friday against the Cubs. he will be taking the bump, and I'm incredibly excited. In his last rehab, he did so at Hudson Valley. I think he went 3 2/3, maybe 2 hits, 2 walks, 8 Ks. So the stuff is really playing. It's more just a matter now of lengthening him out and just getting him more accustomed to MLB hitters. But would imagine his range is just about at 70 to 75 pitches. Could definitely keep him less, but just really excited to have him back in the rotation, and hopefully just his mentality and his demeanor brings a lot of confidence to this team and allows everybody to work even harder, especially Garrett Cole. That's why I really love this pairing and the signing in the offseason. The next guy that we're going to talk about is Aaron Judge, and nothing sort of substantial to go over here with him. He was seen throwing in the outfield in Oakland and was reported to have been doing some long toss, so all this is good. That he is able to throw. Maybe the pain is a little bit less on a daily basis and more activity-based focus, so we'll have to see sort of how he recovers, I would say, and sort of continues on with this process. This is sort of his first baseball activity since the injury, so obviously a step in the right direction, but certainly not a timetable whatsoever. And the last guy we're going to talk about is Nestor Cortez, and some good news for him as well. So he was obviously throwing over the past couple of series. He actually threw a bullpen in Oakland where he threw just about 20 pitches, mainly fastball and cutter. Get that feel back, test out the stamina in his shoulder. Apparently today he also threw or is throwing a bullpen. Didn't really specify how many pitches he's going to throw. Might get up to about 30, but some good stuff coming up here for Nestor, and we'll talk a little bit about the schedule. Pretty decent time, and hopefully we're able to get him back sooner than later and really make an impact for this starting lineup. And finally, we'll lastly talk about who's on deck, talk about what is coming down the pipeline for the Yankees in terms of series and where we are headed. So we're headed home for now. So the Yankees have 4 games at home against Baltimore. Really important series to try and close the gap between them and get into second place in the AL East. Really want to win here from the team. And it all starts tonight. Hopefully Domingo can give us a really good effort and give us an opportunity to win the game. So 4 very important games there in the division. After that, we will be hosting the Chicago Cubs, and this is for 3. This is a team that we definitely have to win this series. Arguably a team that I would say we have to sweep, but in the current form, this is really tough to predict. Sometimes the offense just isn't there. You know, in the first game against Oakland, the Yankees were only able to put up 1. And in a Garrett Cole start, that's just really not enough to get it done, especially with the form of the bullpen. But, you know, who knows? We weren't able to score more than 1 against Montgomery yesterday. Everybody should be pretty familiar with his stuff. We were getting no hit through like 5 innings. So definitely would take 2 out of 3 there from Chicago. After that, after Sunday, some of the guys on the team are heading out to Seattle for the All-Star break. And that will be earlier on through the week. And then I believe that the Yankees pick up again on Friday. Believe it's on Friday. That sort of makes sense in my head, and the math sort of adds up. But they will be in Colorado for 3 against the Rockies. And then they continue on with the road trip as well. So it's definitely some really gettable games for the Yankees here. 4 very important ones against Baltimore. 3 that we definitely should have, at least 2 against the Cubs, and then ultimately 3 at Colorado. You never know what will happen at Coors Field. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Make sure to let me know in the comment section down below what you thought some of the key takeaways are, how excited you guys are for some of this injury news with Rodon coming on, how excited you were to see the perfect game. It was definitely a memorable game that I'll never forget, but again, that's going to do it for me, guys. Make sure to subscribe if you guys are new. Like the video if you guys enjoyed. But for now, that's going to do it for me. This has been your boy, Frankie Bones. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Bye.